Welcome everyone to Daniil Dubov versus Vidit Gujrathi. It's a clash of styles. Dubov with his creative style of play, while Vidit is known for his very solid chess. That's the reason why when they both clash against each other, it always leads to some exciting games. There we have the handshake and off we go. Dubov opens the game with 1 e4. Vidit takes his time. Generally, he goes for e5 and today is no different. Knight to f3 comes out and Vidit will play knight f6. No, he goes knight c6. Right. Bishop b5. We have the Ruy Lopez on the board and Vidit plays a6. Bishop a4 and the knight comes out to f6, attacking the pawn on e4. Dubov castles. Will Vidit take the pawn and go into the open Ruy Lopez? Not really. He goes into bishop c5, the Archangels variation. This is a much more active way to develop your bishop. c3, b5, and now the bishop can drop back either to b3 or c2. Dubov chooses his bishop going back to c2 and Vidit plays in the center with d5. Dubov strikes in the center with d4. Suddenly the position has become very sharp. He takes the pawn and now Dubov's next move is completely shocking. He goes knight d2. But guys, this is all preparation. Don't be shocked. Many games have happened. Pawn takes knight. He takes with the queen. Now attacking the knight as well as the bishop. So you have to save one of them. And Vidit plays bishop e7. He is following the game between Dubov and Vincent Kaimar. Check here. Bishop comes out to d7. And the queen goes back to f3. And now Vidit takes the pawn on d4. This is also well known. The knight comes up to e4. And I think it's a good time to short castle. Yes, that's what he does. Short castle on the board. White now goes bishop g5. Still following the game between Vincent Kaimar and Dubov. Knows his stuff. The best move here is rook e8. Just simply developing. Also knight d5 is a good move. So Vidit has many moves to equalize here. He's played well in the opening, but this is the first move where he is kind of out of his theory. He pushes his pawn to c5 and it's not the best move because now Dubov has a chance to take on f6 with his bishop, deflect this bishop and chop off the pawn, and that's what he does. He takes on f6. Is this surprising for Vidit? Well, maybe he expected it. He takes here on f6 and Dubov takes the pawn on c5. Now, it's still around equal. You can play your queen here or here. But he goes rook e8 and now that's a big mistake. The point is, after knight takes bishop, queen takes, you have bishop e4 hitting the rook. Wherever the rook goes, there's bishop c6. And if you go rook c8 trying to stop this, there's bishop f5 winning here. So, this is actually a losing move. But Dubov makes a mistake. He takes the pawn and Vidit saves himself. Now the position is closer to equality, although white is still in a pleasant situation. The d pawn is hanging right now and Dubov needs to save it. He takes his time for a bit. One of the ideas is still to go bishop e4, hitting there, hitting the rook on a8. But he goes rook to e1. He brings his rook on e1 and Vidit now can actually equalize by taking the pawn, and he does so. Good move there by Vidit Gujrathi. Black is back in the game, and if Dubov takes here on e6, he must take with the rook. It's a better move. No, he takes with the pawn. Perhaps not the best because more pieces on the board, the more attacking chances for white. Rook a d1, good move. Now the thing which you will notice is that white has the light squared bishop while black has the dark squared bishop. While it's opposite colored bishops and in an endgame could lead to drawish positions, in the middle game, the light squares are weak. And that's what now Dubov can take advantage of by bringing his queen to h5 and actually creating some massive threats there. He goes queen h5, good move. Now, good or bad, Vidit must do this. Dubov will most likely sacrifice. The king is very weak, but it's still playable position. And Vidit must play his pawn up to g6. It's not a happy move to make because your king is exposed and the rooks can actually swing up and give a check or something, but He goes at 6. This is a big error. This is a big mistake because now the queen can come into g6, threatening a check here. The rook can also move up. This is lost now. He goes queen g6. Very powerful move there. Vidit in big trouble there. He played almost, 14 moves of theory, and then by move 22 in the next 7 moves, he's reached a lost position, completely losing there. And now for him, it's not at all easy to figure out what to play. Vidit is taking his time, but it's too late now because threats are too many. He plays his queen here, but notice how the rook is sort of unprotected here, only protected once. And if you take on d4, it's game over because pawn takes would lead to rook takes e8, and if queen takes queen, you take it with the bishop and it's still hanging. So it's a completely lost position. Dubov, all that he needs to do is just take that bishop. He takes it, and Vidit is losing material there. As we saw, take here, this is a rook lost, and if you take the queen, it changes nothing because the bishop comes in and attacks the rook. Vidit has to resign this game because he will be a piece down at this point. There's nothing that he can do. You can see Daniil Dubov knows that he's got the job done. Handshake there. Just 23 moves is all that it took Dubov to beat Vidit. Doesn't happen often that a super solid player like Vidit loses in just 23 moves. But that's the Daniil Dubov effect. He can beat any player on a given day. And that was a very nice victory for the Chingari Gulf Titans at the Global Chess League.